Hey, welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And I do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed anywhere, on any device, anytime, in as little as 15 hours worth of effort, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, on today's show, The Entrepreneur's Journey, I'm so honored to have on the show my very good friend, international love coach, fellow mastermind member, and survivor of stage 4 cancer, Tomoe Cooper. Now, there isn't enough time in today's show to say all the great things about Irene, but what I will say is that she'll have an effect and impact your life in a very great way. I'm proud to call her my friend. Irene and I met a couple of years ago while we were attending some Mike Koenig's marketing events in San Diego. I don't recall how we actually met, which really isn't unusual for me. I tend to forget lots of details about past events, such as how I meet people. But I do recall that she has such a loving soul and personality. It's very difficult not to want to be around her. Now, even though today's show is the entrepreneur's journey, I have a feeling we'll be discussing the journey of life, talking about one's purpose, why we are put here, and how it is we can impact other people's lives. Because that's what Irene does day in and day out. The struggles we have as entrepreneurs pale in comparison to the battles people go through on a daily basis just to live their life. I think it's important for many of us to step back and think about how fortunate we are when times are tough, when things aren't going our way, when we aren't seeing the results that we want. We need to be thankful for what we do have. We need to keep moving forward. We need to keep going and never give up on our dreams. And Irene is a walking, talking example of that each and every day. Irene will be sharing with us how she is living her life to the fullest, has a strong, thriving, and expanding international business, as well as live in peaceful personal life while living with stage 4 cancer. Irene feels that if she's able to keep her head up high, travel the world while having a happy, harmonious harmonious love and work life, then you'll definitely be able to do so too. And today she's going to share with us just how she does it. Now, Irene Tomoe Cooper is a highly respected international love coach and author of the best-selling book, The Japanese Women's Guide to International Relationship Skills. She's also in demand as a keynote speaker and talk show guest, where she imparts expert advice on love, personal connections, matchmaking, and integrating work and life to create harmony. Now, fluent in Japanese and English, Irene advises men and women in Europe, Asia, and the US on love and relationship issues, specializing in East-West relationships where cultural communication is so vital. Her global clientele encompass male and female corporate executives, entrepreneurs, and leading medical, law, and academic professionals. Well known as a dynamic trainer and mentor, Irene built her global reputation by helping successful Japanese women switch off their work mode and turn on their sensuality to attract loving, lifelong relationships with Western men of their dreams. So be sure to stick around, because when I come back, we're going on the entrepreneur's journey with my dear friend and colleague, Irene Tomoe Cooper. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Today it's Entrepreneur's Journey, where we hear from an individual about their journey into entrepreneurship. Sometimes the journeys are like roller coasters filled with ups and downs, twists and turns, and even sometimes getting derailed from time to time. And sometimes it isn't necessarily the business journey that takes us on a roller coaster. Sometimes it's life that derails us. That's what happened to my guest today. However, she refuses to let cancer beat her, and she forges on living her life with grace, dedication, and purpose. For those of you who don't know who my guest is today, Irene Tomoe Cooper is an Amazon best-selling author of The Japanese Women's Guide to International Relationship Skills, and has a Japanese podcast that has been downloaded over 95,000 times. She helps busy and successful global-minded Japanese women, single, 25 to 45, and right in my age range, who are career women and professionals who feel good about their work but do not have confidence in themselves or in their relationships. These ladies fear that they're going to be single forever, that they're frustrated that they can't find the man of their dreams, or fear that it's not possible for them to do so. Most of them worry they'll be too old to get married, or they'll no longer be wanted or desired by men, and they're frustrated that they don't have time to meet men. They're also afraid that if they do meet anyone, that they aren't going to be their type, or they're going to meet the wrong man, and they're really stressed out, and they're not able to balance their life and their work. Now, Irene works with these ladies and helps them through one-on-one coaching, seminars, retreats, webinars, and their training programs that she's created. So please give it up with likes, loves, shares, and a virtual flurry of thumbs up and heart icons across the screen for my guest today, my very good friend, Irene Tomoe Cooper. Welcome, Irene.
Thank you very much for having me on your show, John. I was so excited.
I'm excited that you're on the show, actually. So, so for anyone who doesn't know, where are you located right now? You're in the UK, right?
At this moment, I'm in the United Kingdom.
And what time of the day is it?
Good question. It's 8 o'clock, a little past 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. on a Wednesday night.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us today. I know that there's a lot of guests on the show that friends of ours that we've met over the past few years, and they're all on here to support you and definitely to hear what you have to say when it comes to your entrepreneur journey. So, name the book that impacted your life the most.
The book that impacted me the most, actually, it was when I was 16. When to answer the question, it's the "I'm Okay, You're Okay" book from Thomas Harris.
Excellent. So, when you were a young girl, who was your celebrity crush?
Jackie Chan.
Who?
Jackie Chan.
Okay.
You know, Chinese.
So, what either book, podcast, or show are you into right now?
Actually, it's sort of like a show. I just purchased the Coach John Wooden's Pyramid of Success.
Okay.
I'm very excited to listen to that.
Excellent. And are you currently working with any coaches?
Yes, I am. Should I name them?
Who are they?
Yeah, it's Ed Rush, Mike Koenigs, Pamela Hendrickson, and Gina DeVee.
Wow, lots of coaches.
I know.
So what is your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie is An Affair to Remember. It's so old, but it's great.
Excellent. And are you currently involved in any masterminds?
Yes, one.
Okay. And name a person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
Oh, I'd love to meet Ellen DeGeneres. I think I'm saying her name
Very
right.
nice. Actually, I see that she just won or got a medal from the president yesterday.
Yes. She seems so fun. I'd love to meet her.
Excellent. And what is your favorite type of vacation? Is it a beach vacation or adventure tour?
Well, it'll be beach/resort.
Yeah, those are kind of my favorites too.
Yeah.
But there's always some adventure when you go to a beach/resort.
Yes.
And what's the best business advice you ever received?
It was when I was a platinum membership with Tony. The guy who sat next to me was a millionaire. He said, write down 10 ideas every day. He goes, if you do that, you will get 65 times 10 ideas, and one of them will absolutely be a big hit. And in fact, it was one of the reasons why I'm doing what I do now. So it's brilliant advice.
Excellent. And the last question is a two-parter. What is your favorite? Not what do you consume on a regular basis, but out of these, which is your favorite? Water, beer, or wine? Pizza, wings, or salad?
Wine.
Okay. And how about, that one was pretty quick. How about the pizza, wings, or salad? What's your favorite out of those three?
Wings.
So wine and wings it is. So
wine and wings.
Excellent. Irene, can you fill us in a little bit more about your business? So what are some of the biggest challenges you face specifically with the culture of the Japanese women when it comes to your business?
A lot of times, my business is for Japan. My focus is Japanese. My target market is Japanese women and with Western men, but mainly my majority of clients are Japanese women who are interested in international relationships. The challenge that they face, or is it challenge they face or challenge I face?
Well, what's your biggest challenge with the culture of the Japanese women? Because they, the culture that they grew up in, they're, they were supposed to be a certain way, and things have shifted in the culture now. So is it a challenge for you? So what are some of your challenges with the mindset of the Japanese women?
The challenges, I guess, it's sort of challenge for, I don't know if it's a challenge for me, but it's more like a challenge for them because the culture of Japanese women is that when you're dating a Western man, in Japan, there's a saying that you don't have to say it in words that they should understand or you should understand. So, or they say you should read the air, which means you don't have to say things you should understand. So
Yeah.
the part of women, that's a cultural thing that women want to speak their mind, but then if they feel like they shouldn't because they should be able to read. But so this communication part is huge. Being able to they do speak their mind if they feel comfortable, but they feel like maybe it's rude or that they come out as strong women. But Japanese women never really come out as strong if you compare to other cultures, because it's their culture to not be submissive like long time ago, but more of respectful.
Right.
So that part of it's okay to communicate your mind and don't worry too much about offending. Those cultural differences are huge. And this respecting of other cultures come as if they're weak. And it's not that they're weak, they're just trying to be respectful. So that part, Western men might look at them as weak, which is not the case. So they have to be able to voice and exude their confidence. So that kind of thing. And also perhaps language barriers, because although although a Japanese person feels like can communicate in English, they would always feel like they're not good enough, that they're somehow their English isn't perfect. So they shouldn't say they can speak English. So when you go to Japan, you can say, "Do you speak English?" They go, "Ah, ha, ha, ha," and laugh. So it's not being rude. It's just that they feel like, "Oh, I shouldn't, I'm not good enough," whether they're good or not. But
Yeah.
so those cultural things, they have a challenge on being able to, I guess, overcome those barriers.
Right. And I mentioned to you just prior to the show that I was watching several reports on a show called Vice. It's a U.S.-based news program that was specifically on the Japanese. Obviously, I'm preparing for the show, preparing for our discussion. That the Japanese population is actually declining at the fastest rate in the world. Over 50% of the women from 18 to 34 are single, and over 60% of the men of the same age are single. And there's things going on in this episode, and you're going to talk a little bit more about it because we already had this discussion, because this is just the version that we were given online, so you can dispute a lot of what's going on. But part of the equation is there's a changing gender roles with the economically empowered women. So there's a lot of women getting more high-profile jobs, having their own money to spend. So that is changing the gender roles from the traditional get married, have a family, be a wife sort of role. And I think that's a lot of your target market is the people that, the executive women, becoming powerful women. And we're just going to talk about some of the things that I've seen. There's guys that are dating a cyber virtual reality girlfriend. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And how do all these culture shifts affect your business, or how does it play on your business? And are the Western media, are they just feeding us sort of a small percentage of what the reality is in the going on in the country?
A very good question. Media would be always media. If people don't watch it, they don't have a business. So they would look at something so quirky and weird and pick it up and say,
sensationalize it.
Yeah, it's a story, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think even in Japan, it's weird. We would say that's really weird. Guys being on the, playing with their application, anime, like a manga, and to communicate. That's my girlfriend. That's sort of weird, even in Japanese standards. However, it is a serious problem. We do have a declining rate of the birth rate is people are not having babies, people are not getting married. The women are excelling in their work. The thing is, the women are changing so rapidly. Women are saying, I don't have to get married at 25. I want to have a career. And because they work really hard, they do enjoy their work. A lot of times they want to have a career. They enjoy their money. They like to enjoy good food and those kind of things. But the men have not changed. The men have been working hard. And all of a sudden, women are changing at a rapid pace. And guys are still thinking, this is not the entire Japanese market, but a majority of it. The men still, Japanese men think, no, I want a wife who would stay at home, take care of the babies. And, there's this thing of, if you're after 25, you're like a Christmas cake. You're useless after 25. It's really horrible. Or they call makeino is lost dog for women who are successful. It's like really horrible. And this is the media doing that. But so women who are over 35, beautiful, successful, really taking good care of themselves, nice, elegant ladies, because they're 35 and in a corporate, job, they're like, the society is saying, why aren't you married? Why are you still single? You can't get married. And, that's a horrible way of saying things to women. So women want a career, but they still want that fantasy of being with the man of their dreams. These women have not changed. We have been reading fantasy things from when we were a kid, Disneyland and those kind of things. So women still want to be taken care of, but the men and the women are going sort of like this.
So is that why you're targeting or you're working with ladies that are interested in more westernized men? Because westernized men are more used to that type of a gender role nowadays. I mean, it's, in our society, it's, there's women that are equally, if not more powerful than a lot of men. It's been like that for some time. It's been a two income household, since the 70s. For as long as I can remember, my mom went to work, and we were, responsible for looking after the home. So it's been a long time in the Western society that the males have accepted that as the norm. Is that why a lot of the Japanese ladies are looking towards the Western men? Talking to a lot, there are people, I think maybe 80% of my clients are looking for a Western man. And maybe 70%, and then maybe 30%. It doesn't matter what what country they're from. Right.
It's more of they want to meet someone who would accept them for who they are, or at least has a career. It's not like they're strong women. They want to be treated like a woman. So the reason why I started my business is really not because I want them to marry Western men, but there's so many problems with cultural challenges. So I wanted to help out with that reason. So my business is to help those people who are already looking for Western relationships or already in a Western relationship to enhance their chances to meet the man of their dreams, or enhance their chances of having a better communion, having a better relationship with their husband or boyfriend. So these women, the problem is because of the cultural challenges, the language barriers, and not really understanding each other in the way that they're used to. That's how I come into the picture of helping out with the cultural differences, as well as the man saying this and you're saying this. So this is how you can communicate. And then they're like, oh, and then things get better.
Right. I understand completely
Makes
now.
sense.
So yeah, you're more of the facilitator, because I equate it to one of my closest friends just married a girl from the Philippines and actually moved to the Philippines. I've been down to the Philippines twice for a month at each time, and I can immediately see a lot of the cultural differences between the Canadians or Western guys and the just the Filipino culture. And then I've also spent a lot of time with a lot of Filipinos here in my own city because of my friend worked with a lot of them. So I can see the differences, and I also have some employees that work for me that are in the Philippines. So I understand the cultural differences and
Yes.
the need to for individuals to actually understand those differences in order to have effective communication, whether it's in a relationship or a business setting or
Yes.
whatever it is. It's that effective communication, and you're just helping bridge that gap.
Yes, exactly. And you're right. It's the same in business as well as in relationships. We have this filter that we look through that, and if we don't have the same experiences or background they have, there's a disconnect. And because we don't see it that way, a lot of people don't see it that way. You just have, I'm just the catalyst, so to speak, to show that bridge and saying, this is the part that's missing. So it's the opening up to that concept of, oh, I might just not understand because of the culture or the language, or there's various things that are challenging in those. So I help people overcome that.
Very nice.